see what we got here. I'm glad I wore my glasses. Turn it like this. Okay, so there are no rules. Be yourself and have fun. That's lovely. Introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Claudette Minnotte. I am originally from Lehighton, Pennsylvania, so very, very small town on the eastern side of the state. I have been in Pittsburgh since 2004. So I went to Pitt, graduated from there, went to Chatham for grad school, never left. And so I've been in Pittsburgh now for a very long time. I work as a professional fitness instructor. So I teach at Zenergy in East Liberty. I teach at Solid Core in East Liberty and the Strip as a senior master instructor. And then I teach at Ohm Lounge in East Liberty and the Strip District as a master sculpt instructor there too. And I work as a property manager remote. So I work for a company called RPM. So basically the intermediate between tenants and owners, and then I deal with everything like it's chaotic in between there. What else about me? I live in the Strip District with my partner John. Yeah, that's like pretty much it about me personally. I'm 40 years old as of February 21st. Yay. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it for like the here and now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how authentically are you living, both online and offline? I would say that at 40, like a 10. I feel like in other years, or not even just me or like other people, there's such a like need to post things online wise and be like, oh, this is how like perfection is or whatever, or like this is going to prove something to someone else. And I think like now there's I give less a shit about any of that now. I feel like I've always been told I'm direct, which is maybe from being from like Philadelphia area originally, but it's that I'm very comfortable in my own skin, and I feel like it's just a lot easier to just be like, well, this is it, take it or leave it, and be really happy with yourself. And I think that like offline too, the way I look at it, and in teaching, a lot of times I think people think who you are when you're up in front of people or whatever is like a different person. And it's not. Like I'm the same way when I'm on the floor or on a bike or with my clients than I would be if they met me like out for coffee or out at a restaurant. Like I just wear different clothes. And I don't know, I find like that's so important that it's hard for so many people to try to get to that point, or they're feeling like they're like, keeping up with the Joneses, or if I'm not this age and I've had the family, the life like this, it's difficult to like wrap your head around. And I think that it just comes with like age and like grace, that you're like, cool, this is who I am, doesn't change. It's basically what it is, good and bad parts that you get to like take from people. So I would say that I'm at like a 10 at 40. So that's good news. Yeah. You've been part of the Pittsburgh fitness community for over 20 years. Yeah. How did you originally get into movement? So I've been in Pittsburgh since 2004. I started teaching originally in bar in 2014, 15. And that's how it kind of like started. Is growing up, I was always an athlete. I played sports my whole life. I was a gymnast, I was a dancer, I was a figure skater, I played field hockey, like captain on my high school team. I played on the men's tennis team because they didn't have a women's team. And so I Title IX'd it. And my sister and I were like the same way. So you're always in like sports and fitness, and that like helped keep you like regimented to a degree. And then group fitness wasn't really a thing until around there in Pittsburgh. So bars started to like pop up, and I think like Orange Theory or just like some classes at gyms. And I felt like it was a really great way that like expresses that like movement, and that I liked, like almost like dance or gymnastic-y small movements. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. At the same time, I was finishing grad school and I was a teacher. So my master's is in teaching creative writing, and I was teaching at the Allegheny County Jail. So I taught male inmates writing and poetry. And so I have the teaching background. I was into sports and athletics, and it kind of just was like all like fit in this little puzzle. And so I started taking classes a lot and never thought about teaching really until like there was an open for auditions, and I did that. And even in the beginning then when I was in that first time, like you're very nervous. It's the first time you're on like a microphone and you're doing that stuff, and was just like, this is what I want to do, and I know that I can get good at this. And in the beginning too, I remember being told like, oh, you're not good enough for this, and being like shut down. But there's that like voice in your head that's like, no, this is like petty stuff that doesn't involve me. And so I found Meraki Studio, which is no longer existent. It's in the Strip District. It was. Where there's now a piano store. And there I started to take classes in the same fashion. And then I started learning from Laura Escott, who is the manager there, and started to like learn all these different modalities, and just was like, I wanted more. And at the time I was married and I did not work full time. And so I was able to really like make my ex-husband pay for a lot of like my learn about this, take this course, learn this, get to do like, get to take courses in TRX, and I was rebounding. I did Pilates, and just like I didn't stop learning because I was like, I don't care. I can't be complacent. I don't want to just be like a housewife. You want your passion, and it's so important to like wake up. And so I started to find that in this, and I was like, okay, let's keep learning. Let's just keep growing. And that's kind of the same mentality I have today. And so I kind of just like started and just kept adding to it, and then here we are. So yeah, it just has been like moving studios or then just developing skills constantly. You say movement heals. How has movement healed you? It has helped me in ways that I think that when you have the world around you, like shutting down, or like when you're in a bad place, that you have something else to kind of distract, I suppose, in a good way though. Like it's easy to like go through things like hard times, like I went through a really bad divorce, and at that time it was like ever like you don't feel sane. I felt like I was losing my grip on reality, and you're in that like fight or flight mode. And at the time I was teaching too, and so you can't project. I can't rock in and be like, I can't teach class like I'm going through shit, right? So you have to like put on that like happy vibe because that's what they're coming for. So it just kind of gave me that outlet to be like, whatever I'm feeling here does not matter. It's about everybody else out there. And I think that like kind of healed me to watch that through my whole journey with going through that and getting to where I am now. You shared that after your divorce, you hit rock bottom, no money, no home. What did that season of your life teach you about yourself? Um, the season was also winter. So and it was 2020. And so it's great. No, at that time, it was just like absolute chaos, but I was in such a mode where it was literally like fight or flight. And the way it pretty much went was like January, moved everything out of my old home, and all the things that I had to get and like reassemble my life, and couldn't move into my new place that I had to have my like parents help me move. And that was in February. So I had like a whole month of like couch surfing between like beautiful friends of mine, and just trying to like get my life together. I had like $7 in my bank account that that was all completely wiped clean of me. And then it was trying to like, I was a stay-at-home wife, so I just taught classes, and that doesn't make that much money at that point. And I didn't have anything, and I had to be like, okay, let's go back to square one. Let's do it. But it was just like there was no time to like to worry. Like it was just like do. Like there wasn't that time to be like, woe is me. And I think I keep that with me now. Because going from like that, it was just like I have to do this. I have to get a place to live. It was like the necessities. Like just go, and then you'll push this down, and we'll deal with all that later. And then it was February of 2020, and I was moving into a new apartment that weekend of Valentine's Day, and that Friday night I slipped and I broke my knee. I tore my meniscus, so couldn't walk, couldn't teach. Uh, was homeless, had no money, and you're just like, great, okay. If anything, they're like, that is when you're like, this is the rock bottom where they speak of. This is it. If it can't get any lower than this. But it taught me then to be like, okay, now then COVID hit a month later. So I had to sit like alone in the middle of a pandemic and be like, let's process everything here because you're alone now and there's no depending on anybody else except yourself. So it made me very resilient to like being like not open or not, it made me like realize that you kind of have to like you have to process, right? It's easy to just blame others or to think of things in different terms or I wish it would have gone this way. Instead I had to be like, no, how do I now get from here to where I want to be, and like think about what I wanted to do with my career, how I was going to like shape it, because you kind of get like a clean slate again, and that doesn't happen often. And you're like, okay, like I don't have children, I just have me, and I can figure it out. And that's kind of how I took it. It was like, we're dealing with all of this, get the ducks in a row, and now we like have to feel and like have to learn to shed that old life. And so it taught me that like life's gonna throw a curveball at you, and sometimes it's bad and that time really sucks, but it's going to get better because life, that's not the plan for you, and we don't know it. Like we don't know what tomorrow has. I actually hate the interview question like, where will you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, I don't know, buddy. Like my life got destroyed real fast in like 1 year. Who knows? But I think it teaches you that you have to like be on the balls of your feet and like be ready to move and ready to like be open to anything, and be adaptable to things too. And that it's okay to grieve and to be okay. You can feel bad for your old self, right? You gotta like almost like grieve something like a divorce. They're not dead, but you lost somebody, and that's a whole thing too. So you had to like be really okay being okay with emotions happening. Explained one time to somebody else who was going through it that it's kind of like an oscillation. You're like, cool, I'm good, and then you're like crying in your car 5 minutes later. And you're kind of like, whoa, let's ride this for a while. But that's like what a lot of that season taught me, and it just taught me to be like, now we got to go on, and you have to move on with your life. And it also just like gets you onto that next hurdle, that next mountain that you have to climb. After your life fell apart, what helped you find your way back to your power? What would you say to someone who feels like their life is falling apart? What helped me was being able to teach and to move and to inspire, I think, others. And that realizing that in a classroom when you're with a lot of people, I'm up there doing all that, but they're coming in there for sometimes to feel stronger in their bodies. Maybe they are going through something and they need that energy. They need something to like make them feel better. And it made me realize like my power comes from just like helping others. It's like I'm a Pisces. We're like emotional. We love to like get all that out there. And my power is my like other people become my superpower. It's not I do whatever this is and what I can do is like my job, but it's just up to others to be inspiring. I think that people like radiate like their own little like sunshine, and you kind of find those little vibes on them, and that's what helps me. It's watching others, like when somebody like understands how to like get something, or they like you watch them from like class 1 to class like 200 and they feel so good about themselves. I'm like, that's it. That's what the superpower is, and that's what makes me feel powerful. It's not me. No. For somebody whose life is falling apart, it's like we've all been there to some degree. And I don't know anybody in my life who's just skated through life on like nothing's happened to them. If not, something will. And then you have to like you got like to be prepared for being able to take on things. But what that moment eventually will teach you is that you have just gained access into like how to cope with things so much better, and to find like what you actually want at that time or need. Like if you're going through a breakup, there's probably a reason. Like it might be them, it also might be you. Like it's not always pointing the finger. There's also things that are like if you are going through loss or some kind of traumatic event, that just like eventually gives you the skills to handle what would happen if you have to take care of somebody else or they have to take care of you. And there's all these like surreal life moments that happen to us that we can't predict. And so what you can do is just be like, what can I do in my own body, in my own terms, to get me through this? And I think it just gives you like your own natural ability to just feel stronger in your body and like take control of the situation rather than like allowing chaos to continue to consume. That it does get better. Like all the messy, sticky stuff that you feel, it's not forever. It's temporary. It always is. And so there's no this will be better in 2 months or this will be better in 2 years. It's just like you then just get to like carve out a little bit deeper inspiration in yourself and who you are, so that by the time you get to, I guess, maybe 40, you're like, I'm cool with this. I understand how to tackle these hurdles. You recently turned 40. You said it doesn't feel like a midlife crisis. It feels like clarity. How has what has become clear for you? Um, I have been at 40, like the clarity comes and the non midlife crisis is that I think that I've gone through things in the past too that have gotten me like to this point where I'm like, okay, we've cleared out a lot of things and I'm so very comfortable in my own skin and I'm so very like okay with like where everything is in my life and how I've incorporated the good people in my life and getting rid of like you have like the bad apples and it's that you don't longer stand for things that you don't like or want and you realize that like there's people out there that are going to pull you down. They don't have to be a part of your life if you don't want them to. You don't have to people please ever, and you also don't have to like constantly say yes to things. And I say no to things like if I don't feel like it, not to be mean, but sometimes you're like I think of it almost like how my like an energy battery, right? Like what I do requires talking and moving and this and that, and so you're constantly on. And so most of the time when I'm at home, I'm like silent, and John will try to talk, and I'm like, no words. It also gives you the idea to be like, it's okay doing nothing. And like normally, that's how our weekends are. It's like very chill. I'm a very lame person. It's like pizza on Fridays, just dinner sometimes on Saturdays, and that's cool. Like I don't need this like I don't need to be out and about. I like don't drink much at all unless we like travel and I'll have all the pina coladas. But like that's it. It's that like life becomes simpler and better in a way, and that's you don't go looking for things or looking to please others. It's not like a competition. It's just kind of like this clarity comes from this ease of being very okay with like the people around me in my life, where I've gotten my career, and like where you are able to stand on your own 2 feet at. What's next? What do you hope that people get out of moving with you in class? So besides a good workout, I hope that they feel stronger in their own skin. When I teach, it's this like meaningful motivation is like my love language. So it kind of just comes from somewhere like deep inside, and it's like I don't know who's speaking sometimes, but it comes from somewhere that like has been there, who's been hurt, who's been told no, who's been told you're not good enough, who's been told like, think of everything that someone's ever told you, that you're a woman, that there's this. Like I think it comes out in that like somebody else out there in class has probably felt that too, and I get to be a voice for them to like maybe they haven't realized that about themselves. And I hope that they get that inspiration and they can be like, oh, okay, I if she can say that, I can say that. Or if she's 40 and she can do this, I can do this. I'll get a lot of times people will be like, oh, I'm 32, or oh, I had a baby. And I'm like, it's not the end. Doesn't matter. Age isn't anything. It is all about like how you align yourself with like where you want to be and set yourself up for goals. And tell yourself good things rather than like all the non-productive phrases that you can keep all that hostility in your head. And so I hope that people get to be able to be like, okay, I can really be my authentic self, and it's okay to like let whatever freak flex I have fly. Sometimes it's like just being okay with who you are is such a beautiful gift. What kind of legacy do you hope to leave in the Pittsburgh fitness community after all these years? Um, I would say that I hope that in Pittsburgh too, it's that it's not about workouts and stuff are not just about that working out. It's that it's a lot of like also mental stuff. That mental strength comes from all of this. And at 40 years old in this community and stuff, you see a lot of like younger people in the game, and a lot of them, I think it's that it's there's a lot of like trying to do it for the gram, and that's couldn't be the worst thing to do this job for. It's all about like giving to your clients, and it's a selfless thing. And if you're doing it for like aesthetic purposes or for popularity, it's the wrong profession. Like there are so many things in this community that are awesome, and there's so many people that you get involved with and you meet, and it's like this weaving of minds, and it's that like experience builds really strong instructors too. And so I've seen so many people that have years like lunch. I have Suzanne who's there, who's the owner of it, and the tiny woman is a force, and I love it. And it's that you get, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how young you are, it's finding that like common bond that like I love my clients and I love what I do, and I wouldn't like it doesn't ever feel like work to me ever. Even if I'm like, let me teach 18,000 classes today, it's not work. It's that I am invested in all the people that whose lives I've touched in, even in like a 45-minute class. It's that finding their joy makes me happy, and I hope that I like have inspired others, especially even women, to be like it's totally okay to be who I am and to feel better in my skin and stronger in my body every time I come into class. What are you learning to love about myself? What else am I learning to love about myself? I am learning to love, I think, just like senses of peace and finding moments where I can just take the break and just be, I work a lot and just be like, I'm very, very like obsessed with the fact that I can just be authentically myself. I think that's like a very hard thing for people to process sometimes, or it just doesn't always come naturally. And I think that I'm obsessed with like loving that I'm okay telling my story and my journey, and like it's not like hardships and things that happen to people's lives aren't things to stow away, because you never know who else has it or has gone through that. And I think that it's cool to be like, okay, I said this, and have somebody else think, oh, me too. And I'm not afraid of anything involving that, and that I'm very okay to be like, this is my story. Hopefully this helps. It's not, yeah, there is really shitty at parts, and your road life and map are going to be different for every person. And I think that being able to like love my journey to who I am and where I am now, good, bad, ugly, sad, whatever it is like really cool thing to just own it. How has this experience of sitting in the hot seat been for you today? Any final thoughts? This has been an amazing experience. It's been awesome. It is also pouring outside, so it's like gloomy and awesome in here, but it's been just a really cool thing to be able to be like, here's like the things that sit in my subconscious, and let me like get them out, and also express things in love for those that are in the fitness community or have been in my classes or are like just touches upon in my life. And so I think a lot of times we don't say it. We just talk to our inner monologue a lot, or I do. I heard one time that people don't have inner monologues, which is crazy to me. And I think that it's really cool to just be able to express it in a way that comes naturally, not thought of beforehand, just hidden in an envelope. And I can kind of just be like, oh, cool, let me pull this one out of my hat and send it out to the world. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Claudette.